Hey everybody, Nick here, and today a little assembly for you of the Ferrum Forge Executive. Interesting piece. The knife itself is a. Let's go ahead and take this guy apart. Before we get started, though, centering is dead on, and action is freaking beautiful. But before we get started here, actually, I don't have anything to say there, so let's just pop this guy apart. What we can see here is the pivot is not free spinning because it is an Ferrum Forge pivot, which is kind of actually cool, I gotta say. The Ferrum Forge has been, for, in fact, most of the time I've been aware of them, an offender with free spinning pivots. They have finally fixed that, and in fact, they were very eager to rub that in my face, which I appreciate. You know, anytime a maker does something better and then proceeds to rub it in my face, I am super open to that, because you know what? That means you did something better, right? So yeah. One thing that's maybe worth highlighting here, although it'll be pretty apparent to anybody who's involved, is that this has a very interesting construction and that there is no backspacer. There is an integral backspacer on this guy. So that was easy enough. And then what we also see is there is a secondary pin in the back here that is holding these guys together. These guys, of course, being these scales. So I should be able to pop that loose, and there we go. So we can see here this is a very simple knife at some level. Not simple in any bad sense, just there's not a lot to it. It's not a high complexity piece. We've got ourselves a, well, yeah, it's a freaking pocket knife. And so in 20 CV is this steel there, very subtly marked. Beautiful. Can't argue with that particularly at all. Go ahead and I'll clean off the inside of this backspacer. A little dirty. Not the end of the world, but looks like some kind of gunktion or another got up in there. Go ahead and clean this off here. This extra little bit of bar here just gives a little bit more stability to the whole affair, which I appreciate. Why is there, who knows? Alrighty, beautiful. So there is that. Now what we do is we clean off the inside of the tent ball, or not the tent ball tracks, the inside of the bearing races. And again, all I'm doing here is just trying to remove any gunk. Factory oil. This guy was actually very heavily oiled from the factory. Holy crap. Sorry, guys. Ooh. Alrighty. And so we can remove some of that. Then just clean off these bearings. Bearings are ceramic. Doesn't super matter. So is the detent ball. And there is a lock bar insert. So, yeah. Like I said, simple. Simple, simple. No arguments there. No arguments at all with the simplicity of anything, frankly. When life gives you simplicity and it works, then by God, accept it. That's one thing I've come to appreciate more and more as I have lived my life, is that simplicity is such a gift. Simplicity is so rare, at least functional simplicity is so rare, that when it happens, oh my God, just run up and give it a hug. It's hard to hug amorphous concepts like simplicity, but you can do your best, you know. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, clean off the pivot here. Okay, so step one is going to be to reseat the pivot here. And that's pretty easy. We just drop it into its little hole here. Make sure that's sunk all the way in. Beautiful. No argument there. Next thing, I'm going to use some 10-weight NAN oil. And if you're ever curious about the tools I'm using for this disassembly or any other, nickshabazz.com/tools has all the information you could possibly want and more about the various tools and substances that I am using in this process. Let's go ahead, and since I'm rebuilding from this side, I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this from this side. There we go. And let's go ahead and drop on the blade. The blade here is absolutely fine. Go ahead and put a little bit of lubrication into your detent ball hole here. That will distribute itself along the detent ball path given time, as well as onto the detent ball itself. Then let's go ahead and put a little drop of lubrication right there. And that has touched the pivot, so I'm okay with that, because that will just distribute it along the pivot itself. I don't believe the orientation of caged bearings ever matters, but just in case, I'll put the cage facing that way. And now let's go ahead and drop everything back into position here. Tolerances are tight here, but that's okay. Why are we not popping back together here, bro? Something's ever so slightly cattywampus. There we go. It was the stop pin not wanting to see. Ever so slightly cattywampus. Cattywampus, of course, being an American English term. It could be elsewhere in the world, I don't know. But either way, it's from the English language, meaning subtly screwed up. Cattywampus. Anyways, let's go ahead and get the pivot in place again here. There we go. Beautiful. Alrighty. And let's go ahead and put this guy into position. The only downside of this construction is that the screw is going straight into the titanium, so if you happen to strip out the threads in there, you are going to have a bad time because, well, there's nothing you can do to fix it. Okay, no blade play. Holy cow, the action. Oh, little hot behind the collar here. That's that's hard action right there. Okay. So I don't know what they were using at the factory, but it wasn't doing them any favors. Cleaning this out was, oh boy, that's an action right there. Maybe it was just the lack of detent ball lubrication. I don't know, but. Alrighty, so I'm gonna have to go take a cool shower there, and I hope you found this interesting to you, and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now. Oh yeah.